Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and welcome. So today I'm going to be swatching all of my Kiara Sky acrylics. There will be their jelly acrylics, their cover acrylics, their colored acrylics, and some dip colors that can also be used as acrylics. So we're starting with our first one here. I will put the colors in the description box, but I do show you them briefly here. Now, this is also not just a swatching, but kind of a review. I want to talk about leading products in the industry. So if you go and you buy Kiara Sky Young Nails, not polish, and I'm sure there's some other brands I'm not including in that, but you expect a certain standard. You're paying $15 to $20 for each acrylic, and I mean a 2-ounce. So I know every acrylic is different to work with. Some need more monomer, some need less, some need wetter beads, drier beads, smaller beads, larger beads, and you have to learn how to work with each product. So I'm fully aware of that. But the reason I am using different methods as I do these swatches is I've experienced with Kiara Sky just severe marbling. I mean, you're paying $15 to $20 for a premium brand. I expect a certain consistency. I don't want to show my client this beautiful color. Kiara Sky has some of the most fabulous colors, I think. But the consistency is not good. If I use some of their jellies the same exact way I would use another premium brand's jelly, I do not get the same result. I do not get the same result from a cover color that I do from an all-in-one. As you can see as I'm swatching here, sometimes I use a regular bead, just how I would normally apply. And I either leave it at the top and apply 2 beads, or I pull it all the way down, or I use 2 beads or a wetter bead. I wait for it to polymerize. I go in a little dry. As we go here, I'm trying every method to get these to work. As you can see, especially with these jellies, the clear, there's a very strong separation with the clear. Some polymerize fast, some do not. You can see on the edges, the tip, and around the sides, just the clear separation of the color and the clear. Even though this is a jelly product, you still want that consistency. So usually the tip to handle this is to blend it out. Use smaller, wetter beads and blend as you go. So I tried that as well. The bottom line that I discover with these products are there's really no trick. They're going to work or they're not. Their cover colors are quite consistent. I have never had a problem with their cover colors, but the jelly, the all-in-ones, and the dip powders are just too unpredictable. You don't know what you're going to get. If you're spending, again, $15 to $20 on something, that consistency is really important. On other premium brands, I do not have to, whether it's a hot pink, a baby pink, a sheer jelly color, a cover color, a glitter, I don't have to wonder. I use my same liquid powder ratio and I lay my acrylic, and that's it. There might be a couple times I have to moderate my application because of what I'm doing. I need a smaller or wetter bead or whatever for whatever I'm trying to do. But it isn't because of how the product works. Here I'm using a Kiara Sky brush. I'm using Kiara Sky monomer. I'm not using monomer enhancer. I'm just going in as I normally would. I'm showing you guys the way the powders look before application, after application. And again, I'm trying different methods as I go. So I showed you all of the jelly swatches, and you could clearly see the struggles that were there. Even if I put this just one bead at the top and brought it all the way down, there was still clear spots. Now this is a cover color. I'm applying it exactly the same way I did the jelly, and they're coming out perfect. So whatever formula they use for their cover colors, if they did that more with their all-in-ones, they would have a smash. But me personally, I will not buy any more Kiara Sky acrylics, whether they're the Sea Glass collection, the Cover collection, or the all-in-ones, because there's too much inconsistency in the product. Now, Kiara Sky is a 5-star smash for other products. I love their brushes. I love their bits. Their monomer, top shelf. I think it actually smells like candy. Whenever I do my nails with Kiara Sky monomer, I will literally be smelling my nails like a freak, like throughout the day, because it really, I don't know what's in it, but they smell like candy. Their files, I'd say I would choose their files maybe a top 3, but it wouldn't be my go-to. I'm talking about their just 8100 grit files, finish files. Their prep bits, fantastic. Their all-in-one bits, I'm sorry, not all-in-one, 5-in-1 bits are also excellent. I'm trying to think of what other products I've tried of theirs. Their monomer enhancer, again, I've said this before, that is magic in a jar. It's not just acetone. You don't just think, oh, I don't have to spend money on that. It's just acetone. It does the same thing. No, it definitely just enhances whatever monomer you are using. It just does. I can't describe it any other way. It's hard for me to see because of the way I'm editing. The recording window that shows my voice talking is literally in the middle of my screen, so I can't see what I'm doing, so bear with me on that. But as you can see, all these cover colors are coming out pretty gorgeous. Where I have those little air bubbles, it's just because my bead was a little too dry. These are just swatches. I would obviously do better if I were applying them on the nails. But again, I don't show these colors or use these colors to my clients because they're too inconsistent. I don't want to get them excited about a color and go to use it and have some disaster and separation and marbling. And when we get deeper into this video, you'll see some of the ones that it's just unacceptable, in my opinion. And I'm not bashing Kiara Sky. I'm just doing an honest review and swatching and showing you what I've had. Also, every single one of these acrylics have been purchased from Kiara Sky website. None of them were purchased at a nail supply store or secondhand. I think this is Roscato, which is my all-time favorite color of theirs. This is probably the second jar I've bought of this. So again, I do like some of their products, but some of the things are just, unacceptable. I don't know. You guys can let me know what you feel about that. Look at that. That is a beautiful color. Love it. It looks great on a full set. It does great for ombre. Again, I cannot see and call out these colors to you. If they're going by too quickly, just bear with me. I will put them in the description box. So I've kind of been putting off doing this video because I do have a lot of them. I knew it was going to take a minute, but I have been talking about it. So I want you guys to let me know if you've experienced the same thing. When I get to 2 of the biggest offenders on here, like the worst marbling you've ever seen in your life, I do put a little clip of what they're charging for this on their website. I went to the website and put a little add-in picture clip of actually what they're charging for that. I did write on the lid of this, best perfect or most perfect pink nude. I love this for a pink nude. This is also one of my other favorite colors. And I have also learned that with Kiara Sky, you do need to work a little drier. If you use your same liquid to powder ratio that you would use for something that you're used to working with, like not polish. For me, if that's my go-to, I use that anytime I can. Those are the cover colors. And for the most part, they're real consistent. A couple of them have that sheerness and separation, but you can work with that. I saved this one for last because it's glitter, and my camera didn't pick up the glitter as much. Anyway, if you do have to adjust your liquid powder ratio per brand, that's just typical. But Kiara Sky, I've noticed you have to work drier or it just runs right off. It's a runny acrylic. Its dry time is, I would say, a medium set, and I am using their medium setting monomer. Their monomer is also a medium set. So it's very beginner friendly, and yes, user friendly when you're using the cover colors. Also, when we get to the dip powders, I understand that dip powders are dip powders. They can be used as acrylics, but they're a much more finely milled product. So you also have to adjust your monomer liquid to powder ratio with those. But again, if you're used to working with acrylics, you just know how to do it. And when I got to those, I did try both. I tried dry, I tried wet, and as you see, I do the same with all of these. So this is one of their all-in-ones. I'm getting into the colored acrylics now. We did the jellies, we did the covers, and now these are going to be their all-in-ones. This color's called Cray Grey, I think I showed you. It's a beautiful kind of putty color. I didn't have much problem with this one, as you can see. Another thing that's strange about these acrylics is you'll notice very, very clearly, I'll pick up a bead and have to shake it to get it to polymerize, and some polymerize instantly. There's no telling which it will be. I don't know why that is either. Some almost never polymerize on their own without the shaking or tapping. And what I'm doing there is there's monomer in my brush, and I'm getting that monomer into the bead. So you can see here I used one bead, pulled it all the way down, and let's see when we turn it over if the bead stayed consistent, even though it was the same bead, same monomer saturation. So I'm just tapping the monomer into the acrylic to get the whole bead wet before I start, so that what I'm actually applying to the nail or the swatch stick isn't dry. Also for consistency. I also noticed too, when I have to use two beads, even though I'm pretty consistent with my liquid to powder ratio, and again I wait for it to polymerize before I lay it down, that you can clearly see that separation of where I placed the bead. You don't want your client experiencing that on their nail. And once you lay it down, how are you going to fix that? Do you have to apply more? Do you file it off? Either scenario is crappy. And these, it's taking a long time to polymerize. And I mean, by then it's almost dry. So another thing that this is a good lesson for is if you do get a bead that's too dry, what you do is you put it down and you just dig your brush into it and get that monomer in it, and you're good to go. I think this swatch came out really pretty nice for having started out really dry. Again, the inconsistency is what bothers me. Look at this color. Wow, like I had to have this color. I saw it on the website and I was like, okay, I need to start getting some more bolder colors. Look how that instantly polymerized. I didn't have to tap it. Look at the separation. See it? This is not bad. You can blend it out. If that were on a client's nail, you would do a lot more blending and working that out so that it didn't have that. But look at the bottom. That was one bead. So there's no excuse for the bottom half to be more clear. You see how that polymerizes instantly? It's still an all-in-one. Do you see the clear color separation here? I was kind of exaggerative about it because I really wanted the camera to catch it, but do you see this? This one ended up blending out, but I peel it away so you can see on the corner there that little piece of clear that's left over. Beautiful color. Let's see how this one works. Same bead, same pickup, but it's not polymerizing until I really, really shake it. Look at that color though, so pretty. And again, I'm going to take this bead all the way down, so there should be no reason that it should be different colors. I've used the same amount of monomer and acrylic for the whole thing, for what's touching the swatch stick. So let's turn it over and see. Nope, different colors. Why is that? I get that the top of my bead is more dense. Still, it's just too inconsistent. This color, gorgeous. So I really wish that these, and look how instantly it polymerized versus the others that are the same. So I wish, because I do like Kiara Sky as a brand. Actually, Kiara Sky is what started me doing nails. It was COVID. I was at home And I've shown and described to you guys the situation with my natural nails, how they're so thin, and you know, to have any kind of cute, that's just a sampling because I was getting a lot of swatch sticks. That's not all the colors, but that's just a sampling of some of them. But I wanted my nails done because they're so thin and nasty. I like to get my nails done. Well, I don't know if the salons were shut or if I just didn't want to go, but I was on Instagram one day and I saw an advertisement for dip nails. Look how easy it is. And I was like, whoa, and it was brand new then, or new to me anyway. So I ordered a whole kit from Kiara Sky because it was a Kiara Sky advertisement I saw. I ordered their whole dip system, the whole kit. And I, way back in the day, probably in the late 80s or early 90s, I had several times gotten a little kit from Walgreens or something, again with that color difference with one bead. That was a beautiful color, by the way. So is this. I couldn't take my eyes off this color when I first got it. How beautiful, right? I'm just going to talk through these. You guys will notice the difference in polymerization / separation, marbling, etc. I do see, I expected this one to be bad because it was highly pigmented, but I think this one was actually one of the ones that came out perfectly gorgeous. And why is that? Why does this one come out perfect and the others not? Even though you can see marbling. Nope, look at that. There's a blue in here that comes out really nice. And here I'm just going to show you the difference in colors. When I get you a couple of these, you're just not going to believe it. I know I interrupted myself. See the blue-gray difference that I'm trying to show you here? Look at that. If you do not blend this or know what you're doing or know how to blend it, that is marbling, you guys. When you say a color marbles, that is what you're talking about. You could actually do a marble nail with one color. That's marbling. Anyway, back in the day, I had gotten little kits from Walgreens or whatever and done acrylic nails. So once I tried the dip system, I really didn't like it. I didn't like it. It wasn't easy. It was way too many steps, way too much filing because it just, it just wasn't my game. So I thought, well, I'm going to check out their website and get some acrylics. And I didn't really want to because they were expensive and I wasn't sure what I was doing. So I went to Sally's and I got myself a little starter kit. I think it was maybe Kiss, which I didn't know at the time, but no, it wasn't Kiss. It was just the Sally's. If you've ever been, they have, I'm sure, nationwide the same brand. I can't remember. And I taught myself with that. And then, you know, while trying to learn, I started watching YouTube tutorials. So I started watching V, nailed it. And see, look how that one came out perfect. Like, what's the deal? When are you going to know which one to buy? What do you spend your $20 on? Which one's going to work and which one isn't? That is my beef with this stuff here. Gorgeous color, but separation. I don't know if you guys can see it. Yeah, so I started watching V, and that's where I got introduced to Not Polish. She was, you know, when you first start, you think all you have to work with is clear, and you polish them after that. I think this was the one that worked out perfectly. This is a highly pigmented one, so I'm expecting it to marble. I'm expecting it to separate. I'm expecting my swatch. Look how quick it polymerized. I'm expecting my swatch to be a different color at the bottom than the top, even if I'm using one bead with the same amount of monomer. I mean, there's not two beads here, so how can it be different from the bottom and the top? Except my top's bigger or drier or whatever. I don't know. It would be embarrassing to do with a client. I think when I turn this over, it's absolutely perfect. So how do I know? When I'm spending $20 per each color, how do I know which one's going to come out spectacular? Nope, that one wasn't it. Sorry, guys. Okay, I'm going to stop talking about my acrylic journey to talk about this acrylic. Let's just watch. Do you see how some of it's brown and some of it's pink? Do you see this? This is one bead. What is that? Honestly, how are people paying $20 for this? Do you see this? So there's me blending it to see, well, does it go away if I blend it? Here's how beautiful the powder is. Do you see right away the smashing difference in color that you're getting? It's Pepto-Bismol and brown. Keep in mind, before I did any of these, you saw me shaking them up. Later on, I actually shake and stir. Here you go, $20 for this. This is the color. It also does not look like the color on the website. So here I'm going to try to blend it to see if we can blend this out. No. How embarrassing if you showed your client that color and you start working. You plan a whole set and you start applying this. I just don't understand what they're selling here. I'm sorry, this just makes me really mad. Okay, back to what I was saying. So you think all you have to work with is clear and then polish your nails, because that's what, back in the day when I used to go to the salon and get my nails done, that's what they would do. You'd get a French set or you'd get a polish, maybe a little glitter, maybe some bling. Nothing like I was seeing V doing. All these colored acrylics that were out there now, I was just blown away. And of course I had, gotten some colors with my dip kit, but the two just didn't connect for me that, whoa, I can do acrylic with, there's that I do again that just pissed me off, honestly. Like, what is that? So I started purchasing from Not Polish, and that changed the game. I was obsessed after that, and I taught myself how to do acrylics. I think in some of my other videos, I'm starting in with the dip powders in case you guys didn't notice. This dip powder came in my first dip set, by the way. This is just like a light pink, one of a standard color you would get in a starter kit, so you can do ombres and French designs. So this one, they've got pretty well formulated. It comes out real nice. Now again, that was a dip powder I used completely normally the way I would have used an acrylic or an all-in-one or two-in-one or however you want to phrase it. Most acrylics nowadays are two-in-ones. All Not Polishes are. I think all Young Nails are. Although Young Nails does have their slick pour, but you can use their slick pours as acrylic as well. Anyway, all the rest of this video, these are dip powders. I can see in this application here that the bottom is lighter already, but look at the difference. That's horrible. Anyway, I started teaching myself. I mentioned before that I live in Arizona, and I started teaching myself during the summer. The monomer smell was too strong for everybody who lived with me, so I was doing it outside. The acrylic, it was 115 degrees outside. I was sitting outside with the misters and fans just to keep myself cool, and I had no idea at the time that my acrylic would just harden instantly in 100-some degrees. This was really not polymerizing, as you can tell. And it's like putty. It's like mud. Look at this. Whether it's dip or not, why the color separation? So some of these I actually start stirring, and then there's also the specks that you really can't get out. Think if you're doing a client's nail, are you going to dig that out and hope when you start filing and finishing that doesn't show up? What are you going to do? Put a piece of bling on it? Apologize? Like, no. These are $16 each. And you're not hardly ever going to use the whole thing, because you're going to use half of one for one set, and then it's going to sit on your shelf. So really, you're paying that much for like half a color. I don't know. Anyway, so the acrylic was freezing up in me, and that one polymerized quickly. The inconsistency, shake my fist. Yeah, it was just absurd. I thought there was something wrong with me. I couldn't ombre to save my life because naturally the bead was hard. I couldn't pull it down. Did you notice on that one that when I was applying it, there was no indication whatsoever that the color would be different top to bottom, but toward the tip and the free edge was just almost clear? So I'm starting at the bottom here. I'm like, okay, well, let's see. If I start at the bottom and my bead is drier there, let's see what kind of color difference I get. And do a 2 or 3 bead method and go way, way, way smaller and wetter on my beads and see if that changes it. No, the marbling is still there 100%. I could actually make a marble nail with this one color. Really small wet beads, see? Still not working. Here I am petting it out, trying to blend it in so I can get rid of the marble. It's really not working either. It worked a little bit, but how much do you need to play with it for $16? And look at that. Oh, gosh. Okay, here's the worst offender of all, besides the I Do. This is Gimme a Beat. This is $15. First of all, the color comes out way different than the powder, which is typical. But is it blue or is it green? So here I am blending it out. Comes out a really nice teal type color on the top. But what's it look like on the other side? When you're applying a nail to a client, obviously they're not going to see what's on the other side of their skin. But what color are you trying to get here? Okay, this color does look like the color in the jar as advertised. And I know as soon as you powder's never looking the same as when you apply it. But what's that? What are we doing here? And here I'm going to show you what I see. Look at that. Just going to let you watch. I find this, I mean, I paid this same price, $15, for a 2-ounce chisel acrylic at my local nail supply store. Their consistency is super buttery, like not polish. They have a little bit of marbling, but all you do with that marble is just tap it out and it blends it perfectly. That I will put up with for $15. This, I will not. I will never buy these again. And again, I'm not bashing Kiara Sky as a brand. I actually like the brand. Their advertising is on point, and a lot of other things that they make, like we discussed earlier, are on point. So there I shook it and I stirred it. Let's see what we get out of this one. I already see separation. Gorgeous color, right? Don't you want to use this? Don't you really actually want to get that color out of this? But no, you're going to get a marble nail again. $16. I'll never use this. I stirred it. I shook it. I tried wet beads, dry beads, large beads, small beads, blending out. You're never going to get that deep color out of it because that lighter color won't mix. Look at that. I really am interested to know. I see a lot of people using Kiara Sky and loving it, and I'm interested to know, does anyone else experience this? Because I've bought all these colors over the past 2 years at separate times. So it's not like I got this whole collection and on one buy and I just got a bad batch. No, this is over time. Look at this. Anyway, this is over time me choosing a color and buying 3 or 4 here and there. So it's not like I just got a bad batch. This is really darkly pigmented. I think this was the one I was talking about earlier. Highly pigmented. I expect it to be, look, polymerized instantly. But this one, I think, is just magically going to work perfect. Exactly as I'd like it to. I picked up a normal bead, a nice fatty with my liquid to powder ratio not changed. I did a couple beads. And let's see what happens when I turn it over. I think this one was the one that came out completely gorgeous. And why is that? When do I know what to expect? When do I know, okay, this is a really dark pigmented one. It's a dip powder, so I can buy it and use it as an acrylic. It's going to work perfectly. Look at that. Or is it going to be like the one I just swatched that I paid for and used exactly the same, but it is an actual marble nail? So here's the finished product of that. End of video. Love you guys.